Have you ever considered that the simplest morning habits, the ones you barely think twice about, could be quietly undermining your health? Picture this. You wake up, stretch, step into your morning routine, confident that you're doing everything right. But hidden in these ordinary actions could be risks that creep in unnoticed, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. It happened to Mr. Hung, a 70-year-old man living peacefully in a small rural town. His life was a testament to balance: daily exercise, time spent tending his beloved garden, and a diet that most would label as healthy. Yet one morning, as he knelt among his blooming flowers, he felt a wave of dizziness before collapsing to the ground. In a heartbeat, everything changed. What went wrong? How could someone so mindful of their well-being suddenly find themselves at the mercy of their own body? Mr. Hung's story is a wake-up call, a stark reminder that the small, seemingly harmless things we do every morning can, over time, snowball into something dangerous. And it's not just about seniors. It's about all of us. In this exploration, we dive deep into the underestimated pitfalls of our morning routines. It's not about fear. It's about awareness. It's about safeguarding your health and the health of your loved ones, especially as the years add up and the stakes grow higher. Let's start with something most people never question: working out on an empty stomach. We've been fed the idea that fasted workouts burn more fat, that they're efficient, and even cleansing. But here's the twist. Especially for older adults, this habit can quietly lay the groundwork for severe health complications. Think of your body in the morning like a car that's been parked overnight in freezing weather. The engine is cold, the oil thick, and before it can run smoothly, it needs time and the right conditions to warm up. Pushing it too hard, too fast, something's bound to break. When we wake up, our bodies are in a state of repair. Overnight, while we sleep, our systems slow down, focusing on healing tissues, balancing hormones, and detoxifying cells. Our blood sugar is naturally low after hours without food, leaving our muscles and brain running on fumes. Jumping into strenuous exercise in this delicate state, whether it's an early morning jog, weightlifting, or even intensive gardening, forces the heart to work overtime without the proper fuel. It spikes cortisol and adrenaline, creating a dangerous environment where blood pressure soars and the risk of heart attacks or strokes quietly increases. Older adults, like Mr. Hung, are even more susceptible. As we age, blood vessels lose some of their flexibility. The heart, though strong, isn't quite as resilient as it once was. Morning hours already see a natural uptick in cardiovascular strain due to rising cortisol levels. Now imagine compounding that with intense physical exertion on an empty tank. It's not hard to see how disaster can strike. The solution isn't to stop moving your body, it's to fuel it first. Even a small breakfast, half a banana, a slice of whole grain toast with almond butter, or a light smoothie can make a massive difference. It gives your body the glucose it needs, stabilizes your blood pressure, and creates a safer foundation for exercise. And don't forget hydration. After hours of sleep, your body is naturally dehydrated. Starting your morning with a glass of water not only jump-starts digestion, but also helps regulate blood pressure and improve focus. Think about it. Would you drive your car on empty? Would you head out on a long journey without checking the oil and water? Then why treat your body any differently? Mr. Hung fortunately recovered, but his scare served as a critical turning point, not just for him, but for everyone around him who witnessed how fragile life can be when we neglect the quiet warnings our bodies give us. After that morning, his routine shifted. Breakfast became a ritual, not an afterthought. Gentle stretches in the morning replaced the heavy lifting in his garden. And most importantly, he started listening to his body, to its rhythms, to its needs. But there's another habit, even more overlooked, that holds a surprising risk: how we get out of bed. It sounds simple, almost laughable. But did you know that the way you transition from sleeping to standing could be the single moment that determines whether your morning starts with energy or ends with a fall? It's a phenomenon known as orthostatic hypotension, and it's shockingly common in older adults. Throughout the night, as you sleep, your heart rate slows, your blood pressure drops, and your blood flow pools primarily in your core. Your extremities, your arms, legs, even your brain, receive less active circulation. It's a calm, restorative state. But when you snap awake and immediately stand up, your body struggles to catch up. There's a sudden demand for blood to flow upward toward the brain, but your vessels haven't had time to respond. The result? Dizziness, lightheadedness, blurred vision, and in severe cases, fainting. Imagine this. You wake up, your mind still foggy from dreams, and you swing your legs out of bed. You stand, take 2 steps toward the bathroom, and the room starts to spin. Your knees buckle. For seniors especially, a fall in this moment can mean broken bones, fractured hips, or worse. It's one of the most preventable causes of hospital visits among the elderly, yet it remains largely unspoken. So how do you avoid this hidden danger? It starts with patience. When you first wake up, resist the urge to jump out of bed immediately. Instead, take a minute, wiggle your toes, flex your ankles, let your body know it's time to transition from rest to activity. Slowly sit up, allowing blood flow to adjust. Take a deep breath, stretch your arms, and when you finally stand, do so with deliberate calmness. This isn't about fear, it's about mindfulness. It's about respecting the natural rhythms of your body and working with them, rather than against them. Mr. Hung learned this too. After his fainting incident, he adopted what he called his 3-minute wake-up. 1 minute to lie still and stretch, 1 minute to sit on the edge of his bed and breathe deeply, and 1 minute to slowly stand, giving his body all the time it needed to adjust. He swore by it, and after a few weeks, he noticed something remarkable. Not just a reduction in dizziness, but an overall sense of calm that carried into his entire day. But there's still one more quiet hazard lurking in our morning routines, one that most people dismiss entirely. What happens in the bathroom? It's a topic no one likes to talk about, but it's essential. Straining during bowel movements, especially first thing in the morning, puts enormous pressure on the cardiovascular system. In fact, it's one of the leading causes of sudden spikes in blood pressure, and can even trigger heart attacks in vulnerable individuals. When we strain, we perform what's known as the Valsalva maneuver, holding our breath and pushing. This action dramatically increases pressure inside the chest, which restricts blood flow and forces the heart to work harder. For someone with undiagnosed heart issues or already compromised arteries, this can be catastrophic. The good news, it's completely avoidable. A few simple changes can transform this hidden health risk into just another safe part of your morning. First, elevate your feet slightly while on the toilet. A small footstool can help mimic a natural squatting position, aligning your colon for easier elimination. Second, never rush the process. If it's not happening naturally, don't force it. Hydration, a fiber-rich diet, and gentle morning movement, like walking or light stretching, can encourage regularity without strain. And finally, listen to your body. If constipation becomes frequent, it's not just an inconvenience. It's a signal that something in your diet or lifestyle needs adjustment. Mr. Hung, after his incident, made this change too. He swapped his morning coffee for warm lemon water, added flax seeds to his oatmeal, and even got a small footstool for the bathroom. Small adjustments, but they added up. He noticed smoother digestion, fewer headaches, and an overall sense of lightness. His experience isn't unique. It's a mirror for so many of us, quietly navigating routines we believe are harmless, unaware of the risks that lurk in the ordinary. But here's the empowering part. Awareness changes everything. Once you see these patterns, you can shift them. And those small shifts, they can transform your life. This isn't about upending your routine or living in fear of every small action. It's about honoring the intricate systems of your body and recognizing that health isn't just about the big things, the diets, the medications, the gym memberships. It's about the tiny, seemingly insignificant moments that stack up day after day. So tomorrow morning, when you wake up, remember Mr. Hungarian. Remember the power of patience, the importance of fueling your body, and the wisdom of moving with care. These small acts aren't just about adding years to your life, they're about adding life to your years. Because ultimately, the greatest gift we can give ourselves and our loved ones is the gift of lasting health, mindful living, and the ability to enjoy every sunrise for as long as we can. Health isn't just about avoiding illness. It's about cultivating a life where every moment is lived fully, without the looming shadow of preventable setbacks. Imagine waking up each day not with sluggishness or discomfort, but with energy, clarity, and a sense of calm control. That's the real gift of mindful habits, especially in the morning, when the tone for the entire day is set. Yet there's one silent culprit we rarely talk about: stress. Morning stress in particular is like an invisible toxin that seeps into our bloodstream before we've even had our first sip of coffee. It disguises itself in the rush to get out the door, the endless to-do lists running through your mind before your feet even hit the floor, or that gnawing worry about the day ahead. And for older adults, this silent morning stress can be far more dangerous than most people realize. Cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, naturally peaks in the early hours of the morning. It's part of what wakes you up and gives you the push to get moving. But when this hormone is amplified by emotional stress, worrying about finances, family conflicts, health issues, it shifts from being helpful to harmful. Elevated cortisol over long periods can lead to chronic inflammation, high blood pressure, decreased immune function, and even cognitive decline. Mr. Hung's life after his health scare became a testament to managing this hidden stress. Where once his mornings were rushed, immediately jumping into chores and garden work, he began his days with stillness. It started small. 5 minutes sitting on his porch, listening to the birds, breathing deeply. No phone, no news, just a moment of peace. Over time, that simple practice reduced his blood pressure, improved his sleep, and gave him a mental clarity he hadn't realized he was missing. You might wonder, can something so simple really make that big of a difference? Science says yes. Studies have shown that even 5 minutes of mindful breathing can lower cortisol levels and activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode that brings calm and balance to the body. And this isn't just about seniors, it's about all of us. In our fast-paced world, we're conditioned to believe that productivity is everything, that our worth is measured by how much we can check off the list by noon. But what if the secret to doing more, living better, and aging gracefully isn't in pushing harder, but in slowing down, especially in those crucial first hours of the day? Consider this shift. Instead of starting your morning by scrolling through emails or social media, both of which spike stress hormones, begin with intention. Maybe it's stretching by a window with sunlight streaming in, or journaling 3 things you're grateful for. Maybe it's simply sitting with a cup of tea and allowing your mind to wander without the pressure of tasks and deadlines. Mr. Hung did this too. After breakfast, he'd take a slow walk around his garden, not to work, not to weed or prune, but just to notice. The dew on the leaves, the slow unfurling of petals. It became a daily meditation, a way to ground himself before the noise of the world crept in. And that simple act, it rewired his mornings. The tension in his shoulders lessened. His digestion improved. Even his family noticed. "You seem lighter," his daughter said one afternoon. And he was, because he had given himself permission to start the day from a place of calm. But let's talk about another hidden morning habit that silently sabotages health: skipping hydration. It sounds almost too simple, but dehydration is one of the most overlooked health hazards, especially for older adults. After 8 hours of sleep, your body is in a mild state of dehydration. Your blood is thicker, your cells are thirsty, and your brain, made up of nearly 75% water, struggles to operate at full capacity. When Mr. Hung began starting his day with a tall glass of water infused with a slice of lemon or cucumber, he noticed an almost immediate shift. His mid-morning headaches disappeared, his energy levels stabilized, and those moments of brain fog that used to cloud his mornings, gone. It's a reminder that our bodies are intricate ecosystems where even the smallest deficits, like a lack of water, can ripple outward, impacting focus, mood, digestion, and cardiovascular health. Hydration isn't just about quenching thirst, it's about lubricating joints, flushing toxins, and ensuring that every cell operates at its best. And here's the part most people don't realize. Thirst diminishes with age. Older adults often don't feel dehydrated even when their bodies desperately need water. This is why intentional hydration, making it a ritual, not an afterthought, is crucial. But it's not just about what you drink, it's about what you avoid. Many start their mornings with coffee, sometimes 2 or 3 cups, before drinking a single drop of water. Coffee, while beloved for its energy boost, is also a diuretic, meaning it encourages your body to expel water. Starting your day this way without first rehydrating only deepens that dehydration, leaving you more sluggish than alert. Mr. Hung found balance here, too. He didn't abandon his morning coffee. After all, it was part of his routine he genuinely enjoyed. But he made a simple change: water first, coffee second. That one shift was enough to ease his headaches and reduce the mid-morning crashes he'd often faced before. Hydration, stillness, mindful movement. These might sound like small changes, but together they create a ripple effect, a morning routine that doesn't just get you through the day, but sets you up to thrive. But perhaps the most surprising risk of all lies not in what you do, but in what you don't notice: the power of your environment. Mornings that begin in chaos, loud TVs blaring, cluttered spaces, harsh lighting, trigger stress responses before you've even had a chance to wake up fully. Your body senses disorder before your conscious mind even registers it. Mr. Hung's home was once filled with morning noise, radios tuned into the news, kitchen clatter, the constant buzz of notifications. It wasn't until after his health scare that he realized how overstimulating it all was. So he made a few changes. He swapped blaring news radio for soft instrumental music. He decluttered his kitchen counter, leaving only what was necessary. He even invested in curtains that let in soft, natural light, replacing the harsh fluorescent glow that used to flood his mornings. The result? A calmer space created a calmer mind. And a calmer mind? That's the foundation for better decision-making, lower stress levels, and ultimately, better health. Here's the truth. Your morning isn't just a series of habits. It's a reflection of how much you respect your health, your peace, and your future. The small things, what you eat, how you move, what you listen to, are the building blocks of a life lived well. So tomorrow when you open your eyes, pause. Before the rush of thoughts floods in, before the phone lights up, before the coffee brews, take a moment, stretch, breathe, drink a glass of water, give your body and mind the gift of ease, the space to adjust, and the fuel to thrive. Because health isn't just about adding years to your life, it's about adding life to your years. And it starts, quite simply, with how you greet the morning. There's a subtle beauty in the quiet hours of the morning, a softness in the air, a sense of renewal. But within that stillness lies an incredible power. How you spend those first few hours sets the tone not just for the day ahead, but for your long-term well-being. It's in these simple, often overlooked choices that we either build resilience or unknowingly chip away at our health. Let's step into the next part of this journey, exploring a habit so common that most people never question it, reaching for technology the moment they wake up. The glow of a smartphone screen, notifications piling up, endless scrolling. It feels harmless. It feels normal, but it's not. The science is clear. The blue light emitted from phone and tablet screens disrupts your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that governs your sleep-wake cycle. Even after a night of solid rest, this artificial light tells your brain, it's time to go full throttle, triggering a surge of cortisol and spiking adrenaline. The problem? Your body isn't ready yet. It's like revving an engine while it's still cold. Inefficient, damaging in the long run. For seniors, this impact can be even more pronounced. As we age, our natural melatonin production decreases, making restful sleep harder to come by. Adding early morning screen time into the mix only compounds the problem. It creates a feedback loop of poor sleep, increased stress, and eventually chronic fatigue. Mr. Hung used to start his mornings this way. Before his feet hit the floor, he'd scroll through the news on his phone. World events, local updates, often stories steeped in negativity. Without even realizing it, he was absorbing stress before he'd had his first glass of water. And it wasn't until his health scare that he recognized the weight of that mental load. So he changed things up. Instead of reaching for his phone, he placed a small notepad by his bed. Each morning he'd jot down a single intention for the day, something simple like spend time outdoors or call an old friend. It became a grounding practice, something that gave his mornings direction without the stress of outside noise. Within weeks he noticed a shift, not just in mood, but in energy. His days felt lighter, more purposeful. This isn't about abandoning technology, it's about reclaiming the first hour of your day as sacred. No emails, no notifications, no news feeds. Instead, fill that time with practices that build you up, that nourish your mind and body. Another often ignored morning mistake, ignoring body cues. It's easy to fall into routines so rigid that we stop listening to what our bodies are telling us. The stiff neck that's become normal, the nagging back pain, the dry mouth you ignore as you sip that first cup of coffee. These are all small signals, whispers from your body that something needs attention. The morning is the perfect time to check in. After all, it's when your body is at its most honest, before caffeine, before stress, before the distractions of the day kick in. A 5-minute body scan can reveal so much. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and mentally move through your body from head to toe. Notice tension, tightness, dryness, hunger, even your breathing patterns. These are all messages, silent but significant. Mr. Hung incorporated this practice too. He noticed that most of his tension settled in his shoulders, a remnant of years spent farming and gardening. With that awareness, he added simple shoulder rolls and stretches to his morning routine. The result? Fewer headaches, improved posture, small changes with big impacts. But there's another side of mornings we often neglect, the emotional side. Mornings can be heavy for many people, especially older adults who may be dealing with loneliness, grief, or a sense of disconnection. It's easy for those feelings to surface in the stillness of early hours. This is where community becomes vital. Simple morning rituals that involve others can be powerful anchors. It could be as easy as a daily call to a friend, a morning walk with a neighbor, or even joining an online community that shares similar interests. These moments of connection create purpose, a reason to get up and engage with the world. Mr. Hung, after his health scare, found a local gardening club. Once a week he'd meet with other enthusiasts, exchanging tips and stories. It wasn't just about plants, it was about connection, about being seen and valued. Those weekly meetings became a highlight of his routine, something he looked forward to every single time. But what if you're someone who prefers solitude in the morning? That's valid too. Connection doesn't always have to be with people. It can be with nature, with creativity, with something larger than yourself. For Mr. Hung, nature became his morning sanctuary. After his breakfast and light stretching, he'd step into his garden, not to work, but to observe. He noticed the subtle changes, the first crocus blooms in spring, the way the morning dew clung to the leaves. These small moments grounded him, offering a profound sense of peace. If you live in an apartment, a simple houseplant can offer the same connection. Watching it grow, tending to it daily, it's a reminder of life's rhythms, of the simple joys that often go unnoticed. Another essential element to a nourishing morning routine: breath work. Breathing is the most fundamental act of living, yet it's the one thing we rarely pay attention to. Shallow breathing, common when we're stressed or anxious, limits oxygen intake and keeps the body in a mild fight-or-flight state. Deep, intentional breathing, on the other hand, tells your body you're safe, you're calm. Mr. Hung's doctor introduced him to a simple breathing technique, post-recovery, box breathing. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Hold again for 4. It's a method used by everyone, from athletes to Navy SEALs, to manage stress and improve focus. For Mr. Hung, it became a tool not just for calming his mind, but for strengthening his lungs and heart. The more he practiced it, the more he noticed its ripple effects: reduced anxiety, better digestion, clearer thinking. Breath, it turned out, wasn't just life, it was medicine. And that's the essence of all of this, isn't it? Recognizing that the tools for a longer, healthier life aren't always hidden in complex medical treatments or expensive wellness trends. Sometimes they're in the simplest acts: how you breathe, how you move, how you greet the day. The truth is, every morning holds a choice. You can move through it on autopilot, repeating the same rushed routines, ignoring the quiet cues your body sends. Or you can slow down, tune in, and approach those early hours as a sacred practice, a time to fuel not just your body, but your mind, your spirit, your very sense of purpose. Because ultimately, health isn't just about the absence of illness, it's about the presence of vitality, of connection, of joy. Mr. Hung, after everything, didn't just survive his health scare, he thrived. His days became richer, his relationships deeper, his mornings more intentional. And it all started with small, consistent changes, not grand overhauls, just simple, mindful adjustments that compounded over time. And you? You have that same power to transform your mornings, to reclaim your health, to build a life not defined by fear or decline, but by energy, wisdom, and the quiet strength that comes from truly taking care of yourself. Because at the end of the day, health isn't just about living longer, it's about living better. And that journey, it starts with how you wake up tomorrow. There's something profound about the quiet hours before the world fully awakens. It's a time when your mind is fresh, your body is rested, and the potential for the day ahead is wide open. But often we let these precious moments slip away, bogged down by rushed routines and unconscious habits. What if we used this time more wisely? What if we could transform these simple morning moments into a foundation for lifelong health and vitality? One of the most overlooked aspects of morning health is the role of intentional movement. Not the kind of hurried stretching you do as you stumble out of bed, or the frantic pace of getting dressed and heading out the door, but purposeful, mindful movement that gently wakes up your body and prepares it for the day ahead. Think about how nature works. Trees don't go from stillness to full bloom in a flash. Animals stretch, yawn, and ease into activity. Our bodies crave the same gentle transition. Mr. Hung learned this firsthand. After his health scare, he traded in his rushed mornings for a simple, 10-minute practice of slow, deliberate stretching and breathing. It wasn't yoga or Tai Chi, just basic movements that opened his joints, engaged his muscles, and helped his blood circulate more efficiently. He started small: gentle neck rolls, shoulder shrugs, an easy forward fold to loosen his back. Then he added in deep breathing, inhaling as he reached up to the sky, exhaling as he folded forward. Over time, these movements became as essential as his morning coffee. He noticed he wasn't as stiff in the mornings, his posture improved, and his energy levels stabilized throughout the day. You don't need a fancy routine or a class to do this yourself. The key is consistency. Think of it as tuning your body, like a musician tunes an instrument before a concert. A few minutes of mindful movement can set the stage for a whole day of better posture, clearer thinking, and increased energy. Another deeply transformative habit: morning sunlight. It might sound simple, trivial even, but exposure to natural light in the morning has profound effects on your body's internal clock. The sun's rays help regulate your circadian rhythm, balance your hormones, and even boost your mood by triggering the release of serotonin. For older adults who often struggle with sleep disturbances, this simple act of stepping outside in the morning light can be a game changer. Mr. Hung made it part of his morning walk, 10 minutes outside, sometimes barefoot on the grass, feeling the cool earth beneath his feet. It became more than just a health practice. It was a moment of connection, a grounding experience that set a calm, steady tone for his entire day. Even if you don't have a garden like Mr. Hung, you can still invite sunlight into your morning. Open the curtains, step onto your balcony, stand by a sunny window while sipping your morning tea. These small exposures signal to your brain that it's time to wake up fully, boosting alertness and improving sleep quality later that night. Now, let's talk about something that often gets dismissed but carries enormous weight: breakfast. You've heard it before. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. But it's not just about having breakfast. It's about what you eat and how it supports your body's needs. Mr. Hung used to skip breakfast altogether, thinking his morning gardening routine was enough to energize him. But after his fainting episode, his doctor explained how critical it was to fuel his body first thing in the morning, especially before physical activity. He started simple: a bowl of oatmeal with fresh berries and a sprinkle of chia seeds, sometimes scrambled eggs with spinach, always accompanied by water, and sometimes a warm cup of herbal tea. These nutrient-dense choices gave him sustained energy without the sugar crash that comes from pastries or sugary cereals. So as you step into your next morning, ask yourself, what kind of legacy am I building today? Am I rushing through the hours on autopilot, or am I moving with intention? Am I ignoring the quiet cues my body is giving me, or am I listening deeply? Am I treating my health as an afterthought, or as the precious gift it truly is? The answers to these questions aren't found in big, dramatic gestures. They're found in the simplest of choices, the ones you make when no one's watching, the glass of water you drink, the breath you take before reacting, the moment of stillness before you dive into the noise of the day. Mr. Hung's story could be anyone's. It could be yours. And his recovery? It wasn't a miracle. It was a series of mindful choices made day after day that led him not just back to health, but to a deeper, more grounded way of living.